Welcome back. We're still here with Steve Piacente, author of Bella, which is a really cool novel. And we were just talking about the movie opportunities for the book, and I'm talking about getting Brandon Roth into the movie, which
If
I
you
would
know
be
him
excited
personally,
about.
please extend the invitation, yes.
I'll send an email from my people to his people.
Good.
But where did I want to go from this? Oh, so this is your first novel, and prior to that, you did a lot of journalism work, but you didn't write the book until after you did your undergrad work at AU, but you got your master's at Johns Hopkins, and you refer to that as getting your license to write.
Yes.
Which is easier to get, a license to write or a license to kill?
I would say a license to kill. Not seriously.
I wasn't sure how work intensive like the writing program is.
Yeah,
at
well, I've always
Hopkins.
believed that there are two sides to every reporter. There's one side that likes to sit in the courtroom and go through the files and uncover scoops. And there's the other one who likes to sit at the computer and create from blank paper, from blank screen, stories. And I was always more the storyteller than the investigative type. And so in the late 90s, I went back to school at Hopkins and enrolled in the fiction program. And let me tell you, when you take a piece of work and you put it before 13 people, which is what we had to do, we had to give a chapter a week, and you basically sit there and you're not allowed to say anything, and they dissect it line by line, you feel pretty naked. So no, it's not as hard to get as a license to kill, but it's
still a fair amount of work.
It's a fair amount of work. It's a fair amount of you need to have a thick skin.
Definitely. And were you working on Bella back then, or were you working on just other projects? Like, when did the idea for Bella form? And
a little bit later after that, you do some trial and error, and during my reporting career, I covered a lot of stories that had tragedies in them, and I've always been kind of fascinated how people respond to profound grief. Something terrible happens, what do they do? How do you live with it? And so one of the stories I covered was about the Adam Walsh case. You may know John Walsh, America's Most Wanted.
right.
Before he was that, he was an ordinary father in Florida. His son was killed, and I covered that story, and I covered him when he and his wife went to Tallahassee to lobby for tougher child protection laws. So that was all very enlightening and interesting. There's a quote in Bella where the reporter is interviewing somebody, and that's the reference. Late at night, way after the legislature has approved the law, my character is talking with him, and the guy just breaks down and he says, my boy," and the reporter thinks it was the best quote he never used.
Oh, wow.
Because he didn't want to, invade the privacy too much. Yeah.
Push too much on that. And yeah, for those who don't know, Bella is a political thriller about a woman who finds her husband was killed not by enemy soldiers, as was reported, but by friendly fire. Have you gotten any sort of criticism from the government for doing a story like that? I know they sometimes get sensitive and start censoring things.
Oh, no, not at all.
So nothing from...
Not at all. And yes, that's part of the story, but most of it deals with the relationship. What you said is absolutely correct. What she does to help uncover the truth is she enlists the help of a Washington correspondent, and the book is a lot about the relationship that develops between the reporter and the widow.
Very cool. Yes,
No censorship. No.
I read a lot of Amazon reviews that were very. They touted your ability to do the human relationship part of it and mix it in with the political thriller aspect of it. So, do you have any plans for writing a second novel?
I do, and the little secret here is that there actually was a novel before Bella.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was, and there's also a reporter in it. In this story, the reporter is already the Washington correspondent. In the sequel, it will actually be a prequel, and you learn what he covered to become the Washington correspondent. So it's kind of going back. Remember when the Star Trek series?
Right. They went and then they went back to.
Yeah. Right. So a little bit like that.
Prequels tend to do much better than sequels, oddly enough.
I know. I think people are interested in general in time things, and going back to the roots, how something developed.
Yeah, they get interested in, unless you're talking about Wolverine Origins, in which case people wanted to stab whoever directed that movie.
Yeah.
Including me.
Right.
I wanted to stab my own eyeballs out in that one.
Maybe we can get Brandon Ruth to help.
Yeah, I think he would have really been a good push into that movie. All right, well, thank you so much, Steve, for coming on. The book is Bella by Steve Piacente. You can get it on getbella.com. It's available on Amazon, also now available on Kindle. That was a process that we did not get to talk about, but very difficult. So go out, buy it. Thank you, Steve, so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it.
Thanks.